I remember when I did Virasat, so everybody said this is not possible to crack it in Hindi. It's not possible, it's impossible.
I hadn't seen the show before that, but before I met Sandeep, I watched the original and loved it and was really excited at the opportunity to play the part.
If you're excited by validation, then you will be killed by criticism.
Right.
So I understand that.
Somewhere or the other, really, and अरे यार मैं तो करते ही नहीं सर. क्या dialogue क्या है?
वही.
हम तो रात को बैठ के पूरा सीखे हैं. अच्छा ये dialogue है. You're done already, sir. People are watching and people are going, calling you up and अरे यार क्या काम किया यार क्या शो है यार.
Right.
पहला शॉट भी नहीं दिया.
पहला शॉट भी नहीं दिया. तो आप ज़्यादा उसके बारे में सोच रहे हैं और काम के बारे में कम सोच रहे हैं.
Guys, thank you so much for your time. Firstly, all you guys, I have to say, looking extremely dashing today. That's where Anil, the energy comes from. Firstly,
It's not the way we look, it's the way how you feel. Sometimes you might look good, but you're not slept the whole day. You might get the most compliments. क्या लग रहा है तू यार? अंदर से मालूम है कि गड़बड़ है सब. Today, all three of us are feeling good also and looking good also.
That is amazing.
You're not saying it, but I'm saying it. He's looking terrific.
Yes,
Aditya,
always.
He's looking his best
Yes.
today.
Yeah.
Shobhita तो we both discussed.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Absolutely. वो तो आज तो मतलब बोल कर दिया.
Yeah.
Anil, coming to the show,
Rohit,
this is
such a pleasure to always speak to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Anil, coming to the show, it's a show a story that people know, people are aware of. We know what to expect. How does one attract and get the eyeballs once again to a similar theme?
You're asking me?
Yes.
I'm repeating it again. What happens is any adaptation of a book, of a film, of an idea, and there are stories which people are also know that this is what they expect, but how to do the unexpected,
Right.
how to quack it for the audience we are catering to. That's the tricky part.
Right.
So what happens is, and then you make a show or a film where people forget what they have in mind.
Right.
That's, I think, once, and nobody is going to stake time, energy, and money for something which there is 1% doubt also that it might not.
Right.
At least you can't get into something like that.
Right.
So, at least I can talk about myself, I'm sure about them also. I will not get into something
Right.
where I feel that I might go wrong sometimes, but most of the times when I've liked a story, it might be Wo Saat Din, which was an adaptation of a Tamil film, or this is when I started my career, and sometimes which was also based on a book.
Right.
And sometimes what happens is there's a book and then it's adapted into a film. So there are so many examples. The Sahib was an adaptation, including Beta was an adaptation.
Right.
And 24 was an adaptation.
Correct.
24 itself was a show which I think much bigger than any. It's like an iconic show. And in thrillers that they say is the mother of all thrillers.
Right. And before all the OTT boom started.
And it was a kind of a show which every thriller, every television show or OTT somewhere or the other has an influence of 24. But still it worked.
Right. It worked. Yeah.
And so what happens is what Aditya, myself, and Shobhita, I think the reason for us to say that we should give our time and give that kind of consume ourselves for doing this is because I think they had cracked the way it has to be adapted into the for us to see it.
Right. Right.
The people,
Fantastic.
the Indian diaspora or the Indian audience to watch it.
To watch it. Right.
And still do your best. Because somewhere I feel even when they see it, they feel. I remember when I did Virasat. So everybody said this is not possible to crack it in Hindi. It's not possible. It's impossible. And I remember Kamala Hassan saying, I said, when you make a film or make a show or make something which is an adaptation, so you're worried. You can make it, that उन्होंने कहा कि यार ये मेरी बेटी थी जो सही जगह भी आई है.
जी. हाँ.
So hopefully this happens with that show. At least
Right.
That's the reason
That's
we are
the intention.
invested that much. Otherwise, why should be part of it?
Sure. Right. Shobhita, same question to you. You know, when you have to woo an audience, it's so difficult to get some millennial pie, get their attention to watch a show. There's so many options. What's on your mind? What do you hear from people around you
About this show,
about how to get attention to a show that you're doing? Generally,
I think it's a group effort.
Okay.
It is the coming together of the right kind of cast and crew, and for them all to have faith in the story we're making. Because I think there's a certain zeal with which the project would be made, and somehow I feel like it comes through. When a project is made, even if there's like, when people say, oh, we were like one family, and I think that's, to be a family means to also fight.
Yeah.
So to fight for the right reasons,
Right.
and to make the best that you can make, I think that translates and it comes through. And my understanding is, and I think that it's important.
And I don't think so. We all think about how to woo and
to
whatever.
get them.
Yeah, I think
I think you just
That's not- that's not
I
it.
don't think we think like that. We like a story, and we go with the conviction of the filmmaker and the producer and everybody, and do our best to make them happy.
Okay.
And then we really don't think, and then leave it to the people to see it.
I think people get naturally attracted
Okay.
to things just based on their own merit.
Right.
You can scream from the rooftops as much as you want,
Yeah.
but you're not going to get their
Get their
attention.
attention.
You might get their attention, but you're not going to bring them in
Right.
if what your product is not appealing to them at that level. Anyway.
Right. Aditya, what was, at what point did you come in? What was your first meeting? Who came and told you that we are making The Night Manager and come on board?
If I remember correctly, someone, I think, from Hotstar reached out.
Okay.
Then, of course, I knew Anil sir was part of the project, which was very exciting. I met Sandeep first.
Right.
I met Sandeep and Tessa, and he took me through the first episode
Right.
and his plans with it. I hadn't seen the show before that, but before I met Sandeep, I watched the original and loved it, and was really excited at the opportunity
Right.
to play the part.
Right.
And once I met Sandeep, he struck me as someone who's really sorted guy, who had seemed to have spent a great amount of time with the writers,
Okay.
cracking the show, adapting it for our audiences.
Right.
And it felt like they had done their own thing with it.
Right.
While obviously it is a remake of the show, and largely there are lots of things that are similar, but he has done his own thing with it, and that was exciting as well, because as I think for us actors as well, we had parts that felt slightly different from
Right.
yeah.
Right. Anil, you were talking about, you did 24 at a time when there was nothing, we didn't even know there's something called web series, and that was one of the first. Today we see audience coming back to the theaters to watch Pathaan. Do you think people, entertainment will always be something that people will come back to, whether COVID comes back and takes them away, but this is something they will keep coming back to?
Well, that's what I always said. And I repeat it again. Of course, they will.
Yeah, you think so? Would you do that? Do you go to web series and shows when you're having a dull day or when you want to watch something? What do you like to watch?
There's never been a dull day in my life.
There's never dull day. Absolutely, doesn't look like. Right.
To be honest with you, it's always exciting, and my platter is always full.
Right.
Which I wish I had many more hours in a day, so I could do even more.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to ask both of you, what is it like to have a passionate person like him around who's so full of films and experiences and passionate? You can see it even now. Like, what is that like?
No, I think it's infectious for everyone.
Yeah.
And there's so much to learn.
Yeah.
But also, just observing Sir's process and the way that he approaches it instills you with a great amount of, vigor and see why Sir's been, how he's been doing this at this level for so long because of such a solid work ethic.
Right.
And that's at the core of it, a really solid work ethic, without which you can't do things that he's done.
Right. Shobhita, how much does a co-actor's energy bounce off to other actors?
I think it's incredibly important. It's it takes two hands to clap. Like, so
Right.
for anything, I mean, it's not a singular exercise.
Sure.
With filmmaking, so much is about the interactions.
Right.
So I think it is of utmost importance on set for me to to have that equation with a co-actor and to have a co-actor like Anil sir, I think it really anchors you on set because you know that like he's someone who cares so deeply and has such hunger that there will never be a mediocre shot.
Right.
That feeling is wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
Anil, there has to be some kind of a secret that you should give all of us. We also need this kind of energy. We also need this kind of passion to do what we do.
I think first of all, your humor has to be intact.
Right.
You should be ready. You should be ready to laugh at yourself. You should be ready to fail, and you should be ready. Should not be delusional about yourself. I said, these are a few things which which comes quickly. What I can tell you about, and just keep on working and don't look at the end result and don't walk the red carpet and go to the award ceremony before it is even being shot. You can't imagine this is what is going to happen.
Yeah.
That you're walking the red carpet in slow motion and you're receiving that award, kind of a thing, and people are going crazy. And people are watching and people are going, calling you up and अरे यार क्या काम किया यार क्या शो है यार
Right.
पहला शॉट भी नहीं दिया
पहला शॉट भी नहीं दिया तो आप ज़्यादा उसके बारे में सोच रहे हैं और काम के बारे में कम सोच रहे हैं
Right.
ये अपने आप होता है अगर होना हो तो होगा नहीं होना तो नहीं होगा
नहीं होगा.
So by delusional about yourself, you mean you should always be hard on yourself and truthful with yourself about. That's what you're saying.
I think every achiever is very hard on himself. I don't think so. Is any achiever, he might pretend or he might not share his, a lot of people don't share.
But they,
but they have to, somewhere or the other really, and अरे यार मैं तो करता ही नहीं सर क्या डायलॉग क्या है
वही
तो रात को बैठ के पूरा सीखा है अच्छा ये डायलॉग है डन रेडी सर
और फिर शॉट ये
कहाँ मैं एक्सरसाइज तो करता ही नहीं यार कहाँ नेचुरल बॉडी है यार कहाँ वर्कआउट करता है मैं खाता हूँ सर क्या देना है जरा आइसक्रीम वगैरह देना
आइसक्रीम
चुपके से सब कुछ कर रहा है वो
Aditya, how can one not be delusional? Like, there are also people around you who will make you feel like the minute, you step out, there are paparazzi shouting your name, you go somewhere and there are people, and some places you go, there's a massive crowd. How does one switch on the switch, like that turn on that switch which says, this is also one part of our life?
Yeah, I think it's important to have that stuff sorted in your head, to have a life outside of that bubble that we are all in,
Right.
and have people in your life that kind of keep you in a real space,
Honest.
friends,
Yeah.
family, and to not want to be treated
Right.
special all the time is also, it can be an addictive thing to be treated like everything you say is so
It's so-
funny
yeah.
and everything that comes out of your mouth is amazing.
Right.
You can crack a joke at everybody calls.
So you have to
हम लोग very good, very good. फिर बाद में उसको जैसे he turns away.
Kavita, this is very real, right? This seems very real. But again, are you someone who has a reality check of where you stand and what you want to be, what you are?
I've had a really enriching journey. Because years of auditioning before I got my first film. So I think that really grounded me, and it was, when I look back, it is my source of strength. So I don't think I can never just get carried away by the good times or feel too beaten by the bad times.
Right.
I mean, if you're excited by validation, then you will be killed by criticism.
Right.
So I understand that.
Killed by?
Criticism. So I understand that. I mean, on better days, I remember it.
Yeah.
On weaker days, I have to remind myself of it.
Okay.
So it's a journey.
Right.
She speaks damn well.
Very,
Yeah.
But it can be a very tricky thing.
It can be, right?
Very
Yeah,
tricky
yeah.
thing. And it's important to make sure that you,
Yeah, like
keep it real.
There's a dialogue of Shah Rukh in Luck by Chance which says the alag tarah ka nasha hai. This can take over at all. But going by the way y'all are, going by the experience that this man carries with himself and keeps giving the wisdom.
Keep on reminding people experience.
Experience means abhi bas last kuch saal ka experience I was talking about.
That's better.
Yeah.